Brandon, how you doing?
How you doing, sir? How y'all doing today?
Good.
I'm a Christian. I'm a born-again believer. But I also think logically. I understand the point of views y'all express because I go through those same thought frames, those same thought processes. And I don't judge y'all according to that because I know that that's just the way we are, man. We think logically. We're intelligent creatures, and I believe God made us that way. But my basis of belief is simply that God has based us or He's given us, y'all know, a freedom of choice. He's given us free will, and it's basically what I believe is that the basis of the Christian walk is simply by faith. All the answers are not going to be clear for as mankind choosing. If it was right in your face, then God would say, okay, He didn't want robots, so He didn't put it into our minds that I'm only God, I'm the only one you shall serve. So,
let me stop you right there for just a second, because I did something very similar, and this is just something for you to think about.
Okay.
A lot of times we hear this argument about free will of God couldn't possibly demonstrate himself to us, obviously, because he requires that we have faith, that we have this demonstration of, from my point of view, blind faith. First of all, boy, somebody who's omnipotent and omniscient certainly doesn't need to make such an odd set of rules. But the idea that we couldn't possibly still have free will if we knew that God existed is absolutely refuted by the fact that Satan, by Christian theocracy or Christian dogma, has absolute knowledge of God and yet refused and turned his back on God. So the free will argument for belief in God, completely unfounded.
But I don't understand why you think that. What is the basis on that thought? Why do you believe that Satan wouldn't
does Satan have free will?
No, I mean, like, say...
No, that's the question, sir. Sir?
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying, okay, in the same way, say that a man believes, say like y'all believed at first, y'all had a belief system in God. Where did that come from? Maybe y'all brought up that way, or maybe you just said, well, something has to be greater. Maybe it hadn't been God, Jesus, it might have been anything, but you believed that there was a greater power.
Okay.
Now, this Satan being, just like a man, can know the truth and simply say, you know what? I don't like those ways. I don't agree with that path. So I'm going to go my own way.
And that's what refutes the free will argument that you brought up.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's not really refuting the free will. I mean, he had the free will to choose what he wanted to do.
Hang on. But that's the thing. I mean, you said God doesn't want robots.
Right.
That's why it's not absolutely clear to everyone that God exists, and that he set things up that way on purpose so we'd have the free will to either believe in him or not, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, as Matt pointed out, if Satan has free will, and if that argument is true, Satan would have to if he knows that God exists, that would mean he wouldn't have the free will to reject him.
Why do you say that?
We must not be understanding your argument, because I think that's obvious.
I mean, this is a basis of everything right here. I mean, Satan turned his back on God. Yeah, he might have known God was,
so a human being,
he has to worship him,
and therefore a human being with clear knowledge of the existence of the God could do the same thing.
Exactly.
Which means that your original statement.
How do you explain that the God doesn't bother to make his existence clear to mankind, so that everybody would know? We don't know that he exists. Why not?
He does. He does exist. I know.
No. But we don't know. How come we don't know that?
You do.
We're
know
not.
That.
No, we don't know. That is one
know.
of the big lies in the Bible, where there's Romans, where Paul says.
Let me state this. How come?
Hang on. I'm going to make my point. Right. That's one of the most annoying lies in the Bible from the perspective of atheists. There's people like us who, in fact, do not know that he exists. Right. In fact, I don't even, my wife had emotional feelings that there was probably a God, and eventually recognized that as not evidence. But I don't even have those feelings. I've never had a sense that, yes, there's definitely gotta be some greater thing. I haven't rejected something that I had. I never really had it. When I was religious, when I was in the Methodist Church, I went along with it because I had never questioned. But I was only involved because I was raised to be there. I never had a personal knowledge that there was a God. I have not rejected it. I just don't see any evidence. So.
Well, can I give you my personal testimony of how?
No, that's not the issue. The issue is you brought up the free will argument, And
well,
we've refuted it, and it's now your turn to recognize, it's now your turn to admit that it's been refuted. Huh?
Because this isn't a show where you can call in and give your personal testimony. Find a religious show that does that. If you actually want to discuss the issues, see, you made the claim that God can't demonstrate himself to us because then that would violate our free will. And as soon as we point...
God demonstrates himself to us daily.
No, he doesn't. We've never seen him.
When you wake up in the morning, how do you wake up in the morning? What wakes you up in the morning?
My alarm clock.
Your alarm clock? Okay, tell me this. If you were dead, would your alarm clock wake you up?
If I'm dead, nothing.
If you were dead, with that alarm clock, no matter how many times it buzzed, would you wake up?
No.
No, you would not. Why?
Because I'm dead.
Because you're dead. So does your alarm clock wake you up?
Not if I'm dead.
It does not wake you up. Your alarm clock does not wake you up.
I can't be woken up if I'm dead. Where are you going with this?
I'm asking you a simple question. You're saying that your alarm clock wakes you up.
Explain why this simple question supports your argument. I don't get it.
Because this is a basis and belief that there is a God. There has to be a God.
What, is he the alarm clock? I don't get it. What are you talking about?
Oh, there has to be a God because otherwise he couldn't wake you up when you were dead.
No.
What the?
There's a God because, well, before y'all try to rationalize and make a joke out of it, listen to what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It's the same way I'm giving y'all respect and y'all tell me y'all thoughts. Let me just tell you mine.
Yeah.
If you didn't wake up in the morning, you'll be dead, right?
No.
If you didn't wake up, you would not be dead?
No.
Just because I don't wake up doesn't mean I'm dead.
Dead is not asleep. Dead and asleep are two different things.
Let me change that up.
Okay.
If your alarm clock was going off and you were dead, that alarm clock would not physically wake you up.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, you're telling me that the reason that you wake up in the morning is because the alarm clock wakes you up.
No, wait a minute. Hold it.
Is that not what you said?
He has an alarm clock. I don't set my alarm clock.
So how do you wake up?
When my biological processes have got enough rest, or when my cat jumps on me.
And you wake up.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
But again, I am only capable of waking up because I happen to be alive. I don't understand the whole death part of this. Please explain.
Well, how do you have life? Who gave you life?
Okay.
Why
are you asking who? Why does there need to be a who?
Okay, well, what gives you life?
What gives me life?
What gives life?
Life is a complex biological process, and those happen in nature, and I'm one of those processes.
Okay. Now, where did mankind come from?
Mankind evolved from more primitive hominids.
And where did the more primitive hominids come from?
Okay, let's cut to the chase and go to abiogenesis.
I want to know what the basis of y'all thoughts. So please explain to me.
Okay, there's a chain of evolution back to the first living cell.
How do you know that?
That is what science has discovered through careful, reasoned examination of the evidence.
So basically, it's reason. It's not an actual fact. It's a reason.
Well,
there's a reason why you believe the fact that you believe.
There's no reasoning
the basis of I'm telling you this is because...
Dude, Matt has cut your mic again.
I just put you on hold. There's a chain of evidence, factual evidence. It's a combination of reason, data, logic, all of it together.
Yeah, we're not talking about reasoning in a vacuum. We're talking about reasoning from the position of the available evidence. Right? Not just making stuff up and making it internally consistent. That's religion. Religion does that. Religion says, here's some completely unsupported basic assumptions, and now let's think about how that all has to work together to, what all the consequences of that are. No, science is not the same thing.
All
right. I would put you on hold again. We talked about this actually at the beginning of the show, about how science is able to change its mind and isn't this dogmatic thing which a lot of religionists want to claim that it is. It's an evaluation of the available evidence and a conclusion drawn upon that. Now, you can continue your argument backwards from where did man come from, where did, what the planet, blah, 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 all the way back to what created the Big Bang, and then say God and say, whoops, nothing had to make God. Well, that's one assumption. But the other thing is that even if everything that we know is wrong, even if the data that we've collected and come up with a theory of evolution which explains the origin of species, not necessarily, it doesn't actually explain the origin of life at all. That's abiogenesis, another field. Even if all that's wrong, even if we have no answers, there's still no good reason to say God did it. You actually, if you're going to use God as an answer, and God, by the way, is nothing but a huge non-answer, you have to actually supply some evidence to support what your belief is. Now, we have evidence that supports the theory of evolution. You can't just say that if tomorrow we find that everything we know about the theory of evolution is wrong, God wins by default. Because God is still an unproven assertion. Completely. Oh, he hung up. Boy, that reason's a bitch, isn't it?
Plus, you'd think a god could just strike the individual homosexuals dead if that's what he was really after. I mean, the idea that an omnipotently powerful deity would have to take this huge week-long wind-up to set the air spinning and go, whoa, 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 woo, and then kind of miss.